morning, everyone. I'm Cecy. I'm a women tech maker ambassador from Chile. Chile is a far, far away country in South America. And I have been a speaker at tech events for the past 2 years, but this is my first talk in English, so I'm really honored to be here. And thanks to you for being here. So as Steph told you, I will be talking about digital nomadism because I myself have been a digital nomad for the past 3.5 years. And today I want to talk to you about 5 different myths and realities that surround the digital nomad lifestyle. But let's start with this. What is a digital nomad? And for sure, you have seen on Instagram or different social networks this picture of a happy person working on their computer on the beach or near the swimming pool. And I have to tell you, it's a lie, okay? Because it's horrible to work with the sand and the water and the sun, and it could be even dangerous for your computer. And if you don't have a computer and you're a digital nomad, you cannot work. So this picture is a lie, but it gave me the idea of creating this talk, talking precisely about what is the image we are given on social media and what is reality. But let's start from the beginning. So a digital nomad is a person that works completely remotely and that allows us to travel the world practically. So I say all I need to be happy is to have my computer with battery or with electricity and a good internet connection. And sometimes it's not as good, not as stable, but I still have to work with it. Really important, not all digital nomads are freelancers. Some of them, including me, work for a company. Some others are freelancers, of course, and some others start creating a startup or their own companies. And you know that being an entrepreneur is a really hard way, but they do it. And also important, not all digital nomads code. And it's one of the first myths we are going to talk about. So for me, I say, as a digital nomad, you can work from anywhere because the world becomes your own office. And for me, for the past 3.5 years, this has been my office. Once on a train from Washington, D.C. to New York City, traveling with my dad, who also works remotely and who becomes a digital nomad time to time, working from different libraries, cafes, friends' houses, like that one in San Juan de Puerto Rico, or working from a museum, because sometimes I can go to the museum in the morning, have some meetings at noon, and then continue working, and then going back to the museum. So that's the cultural experience I have experienced. But I want to tell you briefly, how did I become a digital nomad? Because my way has been a little special. And I have to tell you that even though I currently work for the tech industry, originally I'm a historian and a classical guitarist. So a lot of people ask me, like, what's the relationship between humanities, arts, and technology? And I can make a different talk about that, but for me there is a certain relationship. But what happened? In 2020, I left Chile. I was in a kind of professional and personal crisis. I don't want to be boring talking about this, but you can scan those QR codes where I tell my story. But basically, during the pandemic, I learned how to code, and that allowed me to get a remote job for a Chilean startup. And then, in September 2021, I became a digital nomad. And I say, OK, I like this. I will try to do this for 3 months. And then it's suddenly 3.5 years. And I still don't want to stop. So for the past 3 years, I have worked in different roles as a front-end developer, customer success analyst, for product development. And in the second QR code, you can read an article in Spanish I wrote when I got the opportunity to live in Chilean Patagonia for 3 months during the winter, just to, an intensive training to learn some new tech skills, thanks to Fintual. That is an important fintech in Chile. Okay, so that's my story, how I became a digital nomad. And what am I doing right now? Right now, I'm in Montreal, in Canada, for the past 5 months. And currently, I still work remotely. I'm a batch manager at Levagon, a tech school where we teach web development, data science, and data analytics. I work for the Levagon Latam office, but sometimes I also work for Levagon Montreal office here in Le Plateau. I am also the community builder of A Lo Tuyo. A Lo Tuyo is a Spanish-speaking digital nomad community, and we try to give different material and support and community for people who is living and working remotely, who are digital nomads, or who want to become a digital nomad. And I say I'm also a kind of content creator. I like to do it, but I don't have enough time. And I also like to give some mentorship and workshops and this kind of talks about traveling, about digital nomadism, and about being a woman in tech. But let's go to the important thing. You are here today. So let's take a look at some of the myths and realities of digital nomadism. And let's start with myth number 1. It says that digital nomads are all programmers. What you can read or hear. Some people say you have to necessarily learn to program to become a digital nomad. They also say that if you don't go, there is no chance you can live the digital nomad lifestyle, and that it's impossible to be a nomad if you have a different profession or career path. And what is reality number 2, myth versus reality? Digital nomads have different occupations. And let's take a look. Some digital nomads teach, some others write, some others are content creators for different topics, some others design. And actually here you can see the picture of Pia, a friend from Peru, who is based in Bali, and she's a fashion designer. And some people say, but how can you be a fashion designer and a digital nomad at the same time if you probably will need some materials, your sewing machine? I don't know exactly how, but she does it. Okay? So it's not only for programmers. Of course, we have something in common. We all have to use technology and different digital tools for our work. But also consider that the tech industry has some other roles besides development, front-end, back-end, or software development. There are UX, UI design roles for product, for marketing, among others. I also have another friend, Jone, from Spain, and she's currently traveling Argentina, I think. She's a physical therapist. And again, some people ask, how can you be a physical therapist and a digital nomad if you're supposed to be in contact with your patients? And she has specialized in giving physical therapy online through an app or through different tools, specifically for remote workers and digital nomads. So the thing is that you have to focus your career and what you do to be able to do it remotely. And it could be in programming, design, designing fashion, being a physical therapist, a teacher, a musician, and I have even seen astrologists that are digital nomads. So you can be whatever you want to be. Myth number 2. Digital nomads travel because they are millionaires. What do you think? Are we millionaires? I'm not, sadly. But some people say. Nomads come from wealthy families who finance them. I wish my parents don't finance me anymore. It's suspicious. They must be involved in some shady businesses. We don't know. And it's not possible they have enough money to travel all the time. And here I have to say, this type of pictures working near the swimming pool in Bora Bora or living in Bali have created this myth, of course. But what is reality number 2? Digital nomads manage money well, and we have to learn to do that. Because what happens in the end? We have to finance our lifestyle, as every regular person does. So the difference is maybe that we have different priorities. To start, we have to learn to have an extremely minimalist lifestyle. And I can show you, this is the picture of my luggage last year when I traveled for 3 months in the US, Mexico, and Peru. And I have tried to reduce my luggage every year. Last year, I could do it with my backpack, with my computer, iPad, and some tools, and that supermarket bag. I didn't even have to use a suitcase, not even a carry-on, but it took me 3 years to get to that point of being extremely minimalist. Of course, now I couldn't do it because I came to Canada in November and I had to bring my warm clothes. But I'm waiting for the summer to travel like this again. And also, our economic priorities are different, but we do have economic priorities. Maybe right now, at this moment of my life, I'm not interested in buying a house or even buying a car, but we organize ourselves around them. I also try to save some money. I try to invest. I try to save some money in case someday I want to stay in a place and buy a house. But we do have priorities. We have to work to achieve our things, our lifestyle. And trust me, we are not millionaires. There must be some digital nomads that are millionaires, but it's not the regular case. Let's continue with myth number 3. And it says, digital nomads are always on vacation. What do you think? Are we always on vacation? I hope. Actually, I say I am always on vacation, or I haven't had vacation for the last 3.5 years. Trust me, because I'm always traveling in the end. But some people say, digital nomads spend all their time just traveling and exploring, no time to work. People don't understand what time we work, since we say we work, but they don't know when. And in that case, I can say I contributed to that myth. For example, with this kind of picture, that's me working near the sea, but just for 30 minutes, because then it became uncomfortable. And some people even ask, do nomads have bosses who check if they are even working? And I do have bosses, but I have a relation based on trust. So they don't know that I don't have to work 9 to 6, but I will do the work. And that's the reality. Digital nomads spend most of their time working. And sometimes we work even longer hours than a regular worker. And if you work remotely, or you worked remotely during the pandemic, you know this is true, because it wasn't 9 to 6 anymore. It was starting at 7 or even earlier and working until 7, 8, 9 p.m. because we kind of lose the limit between work and personal life, right? And that's the reason why we need to learn to balance our times. And for me, it was something I learned the hard way. But right now, I'm trying to work on it, on work like no more than 8 hours a day. I'm trying. I'm trying to sleep 8 hours. I'm not at that point yet. And I'm trying to have the rest, the other 8 hours per day, to get to know a new city, to get to know new people, to have some hobbies. So for me, it's a balance between working, resting, and enjoying that cultural experience I can have. And it's important to know that productivity has nothing to do with the number of hours you spend in front of the computer or sitting in front of your desk. In the end, you are going to be productive maybe just for 4 hours, and that's all. So the thing is that we don't work 9 to 6, but we have to try to get that balance at some point. Let's go with myth number 4. It says that digital nomads don't think long term. And what do you think about that? We don't think long term? What do people say? Digital nomads believe they will always be young. I wish. I'm not in my 20s anymore. People say that we don't think about what we will do in 20 or 30 years. We think that we'll be in our 60s or 70s still traveling and working in front of the computer. And some people say that we don't even know where we will be tomorrow. I have been in that case of not knowing where I will be tomorrow, but just a couple of times. And what is reality number 4? Digital nomads do plan for the future, but I think we don't talk about that much. We pay for health plans, retirement plans, insurance. Actually, I myself, I am still a tax resident in Chile, even though I haven't lived in Chile for the past 5 years. But I do pay for my healthcare plan. So when I go to Chile once a year, I go to the doctor to have my test, my medical test. I have to do all of that. And sometimes I say maybe we even think more about the future than other people. But we don't talk about that because we have this image that we are always traveling and living the moment, living in the present. But we have to plan at some point. The thing is that we live with a lot of flexibility, but we also have a structure. And in my case, that structure is trying to maintain a tax residence. I still have to pay my taxes, of course. I still pay for my healthcare insurance, as I told you. And I even plan for the future, saving money, making some investments. So it's not true that we don't care about the future. We do. And finally, let's get to myth number 5. It says that digital nomads don't build strong networks. And I think this is the more polemic one. People say digital nomads cannot build long-term relationships. We are used to being alone all the time, and I contribute to the myth because I mainly travel alone. And they say that we sell a suspiciously ideal life on social network. What is reality number 5? We do create community, and we are not trying to sell that perfect life. I'm not here to tell you to become digital nomads. So we make friends, and we form supportive communities. And in my case, as I told you, I work for a digital nomad community. In the beginning, I was a member. I took advantage of all the tools the community gave me, and right now I work with them. Because it's really important to create that kind of communities and try to maintain ties, and that requires time and energy. And I sometimes think this must be different for Latinos and Canadians, but sometimes Latinos in January, we say, okay, let's meet with my friends. And then suddenly it's April, and we say, okay, let's meet after Easter. And then suddenly it's September. It's a holiday in Chile. And we say, okay, let's meet after September. And suddenly it's Christmas. And we didn't meet the whole year. And in the end, if you consider that, you have to invest time and energy to keep friendship, even if you're a digital nomad or not. So I think when you're a digital nomad, you take that into account. And for me, that I have been traveling a lot and living in different cities and countries for 3 months, 2 months, then 3 months again, I try to enjoy the friendship, new people I get to know. And I know that I probably won't see them again. But for me, it's like I want to enjoy that moment, and I try to maintain the friendship, even if it's just on social network. So that's also an important work we have to do, to maintain friendships, even if you're a digital nomad or not. And a friend of mine said this: we also cry, but we cry in different and beautiful and different places. Okay, but don't think we are selling the ideal life. We cry sometimes. So I want to recommend you, if you want to take a picture of this, these are some nomads you can follow. Some of them are fashion designers, some of them are content creators, some others are teachers, musicians, or they talk about investments. Most of them are Latinos and Spanish, of course, because they belong to a Latuyo community. But as you can see, there is no a single way to be a digital nomad. And some final consideration to finish my talk. Oh, it's not working. Okay. So this is near my current house in Montreal. And I say that being a digital nomad involves a lot of organization and research, and also a bit of courage, especially when you are a woman traveling alone. And again, this might be different depending on the culture, but for Latino women, it's still an issue to travel alone. Actually, I was very lucky because my parents never told me don't travel. Actually, they told me travel alone and live. But it's not the regular case. And for other friends of mine, it's been an issue to try to travel alone, even if it's within your country. So that's why I think we still need a bit of courage. But it's not something we just do because we want to do it, and we don't have a plan. It requires a lot of organization and research. And I also say this. Again, I'm not here to sell you the ideal digital nomad lifestyle, because it's not easy. I really like it, but it has some challenges. So I think it's not for everyone. And I don't know if it's going to be forever. As I told you, for me it was, okay, let's do this for 3 months, and suddenly it became 3.5 years. Probably I will stop some at some point, probably I won't. But for me, it has been a very satisfying path of learning and knowledge. Getting to know new places, getting to know very interesting people, and especially getting to know myself. So to finish, thank you very much again for being here. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much to Women Tech Makers for inviting me. My favorite motto, traveling motto, life is a journey, not a destination. You can follow me on different social networks, LinkedIn, you can send me a message, I like to answer. And just enjoy, even if you're a digital nomad or not, try to know new places, try to know new people, and understand that life is wonderful if you are learning something new every day. Thanks a lot.